What are some green flags that someone is a good person? How someone treats minimum wage staff is important. Using please, thank you, etc. It shows that they empathize with others and respect other situations. Just the other day I was at Panda Express and an older woman was ordering ahead of me. The staff seemed short-handed and kept saying sorry and I'll be with you in a second to me. I was in absolutely no rush in the slightest and kept assuring them they were fine. Said please and thank you while I ordered because normal people do that I assume. Anyway, when I got to the register, still behind this older woman with a huge order, she told the staff to add my panda bowl to her total. I was zoning out and didn't initially hear that until she asked me if I'd like to add a soda to my order. In the end, she told me she really liked my attitude and behavior towards the staff and it was refreshing and she wanted to buy my meal for me. Made my day and my bowl tasted especially delicious. This lady at Aldi today let me keep my quarter while switching carts. That was pretty cool. Only been to Aldi's twice in my life. Second time, I was returning my cart when an elderly lady asked me if she could give me 2 dimes and a nickel for my cart because she didn't have a quarter on her. I tried over and over to refuse the coins. It was only a quarter after all, but she wouldn't take the cart without giving me the 25 cents. Finally gave in. Felt bad. Now I don't go to Aldi's out of fear of contented little old ladies lol. My husband is so nice to old ladies and they love him. Once in a while I sent him to find somebody to help us. 30 minutes later I left to find him. Since he'd never returned he had been helping an old lady figure out which Fitbit watch would be the best for her. He never even reached a person. So I went and found help on my own. He's just playing the long con and waiting till you turn into a GMILF. Look at how they treat strangers they will never meet again. Especially customer service workers, baristas, waiters, grocery store clerks, cashiers at retail stores, etc. I feel like I wasn't clear that I was agreeing with the person I commented under. You can tell if someone is a good person by the way they interact with the above stated people. If someone is generally nice to complete strangers, but especially people who are easy to ignore like customer service employees, then they are generally a good person who understand the person on the other side of the counter is also a human being with feelings. As someone who works at a front desk, it is my job to be nice and accommodating. But when someone is nice and polite back to me, it shows me they are a good person. If I had $1 for every time I saw this on Reddit, I would be a very rich man. Well, you don't hear the words, so you would still be broke and living in a stolen martyr. Doing random, seemingly pointless kind acts. Me and a now ex-boyfriend were skipping school to be together for a day before a move. As we were walking it started to pour down, so he told me he knew a place we could get out of the rain. As we were walking he noticed someone's mailbox was open. He lived a few miles away, but he crossed the street, taking me with, just to close the mailbox of someone he didn't know, because it was raining. I would go more general to say how a person treats strangers. It's easy to be kind to those we have an intimate platonic blood relationship with. How we react when a stranger needs help is what really shows us who we are. This is a good one. Like if someone takes a moment to bend down and pick up some trash that they didn't make and throw it away. So small, but a good measure of their attitude toward the world and others around them. When they actually listen to you when you are talking and try to understand you. Right, I'm starting to notice when people are listening as opposed to just waiting for their turn to speak. It's hard when you realize no one listens to you, especially friends you've listened to and at least tried to make conversation with. I catch myself doing this sometimes, but it's not because I'm not interested in what they have to say. I just thought of something to add to the conversation or to their point and am giddy to share it with them. Honestly, it might be better to interrupt them, respectfully, of course, and add that bit before it becomes irrelevant. Good conversationalists know that you don't get to say everything anyway. I should add, as you Carmapulis pointed out, that if you interrupt a thought, it's polite to go back to it after your interjection's done. Doesn't complain all the time, mostly optimistic, polite. Uses sorry please, thank you, etc. Smiles often, can control anger and react like an adult. Doesn't resort to childish behavior. Selfless acts, gives everybody the benefit of the doubt. Little things like picking up the trash, taking a shopping cart from outside instead of the inside, not making a mess in the fitting room, etc. Helping coworkers without expecting CR. These are just some signs you can see in a good person. Not every good person will have all these traits, but just a few of them. I agree with the commenter below. Being a good person takes a lot of effort and awareness. You have to work on yourself every day. Smiling and being optimistic? Jesus, what's wrong with realists and people who don't look like the Joker? When person makes a promise and keeps it, especially when they offer to help other people, this is a sign of someone you can count on. I feel called out on this one. I promised my Cs to accompany her to another city for an interview cause she doesn't want to go alone, but her interview got postponed to a later date, which meant that I'd be missing 4 days instead of the initial 2 days of class. I had to message her that I would have to go back on my promise and she hasn't replied yet. I won't put that on you at all. Your promise was to accompany her for her interview on a set date. The promise was for an original set of terms. If the terms change, so can the promise. I like this answer. I have had people bait and switch so many times on me. If they are able to describe you or other people with specificity, if they are observant and particular with their compliments, this, in my opinion, is the sign of someone who actually pays attention to other people and sees them as more than side characters in their own story. This is a good one. Whenever someone gives me a genuine specific compliment about something I did that often goes by unnoticed, I'm so blown away by it. I'll try to do that in the future as well. I always feel so awkward giving compliments. I'm afraid people will think I'm trying to ask for something. Get in the habit of doing it, and people will come to know you're complimentary for its own sake. What if you are observant, but you have a very poor memory when it comes to other people? Even in a disagreement, they still care about your feelings. Even in a disagreement, they still care about my feelings. The point I'm trying to make is that caring about your feelings vs making you feel like they do are two totally different things. This is something you can read in arguments. Are they coming to it in good faith? Ideally, both people weigh their partner's interests with their own and want the best outcome. They want to grow and learn from every disagreement. Unfortunately, there are those who can't. Maybe winning is more important. I've listened to plenty of people use circular logic that boils down to this is what I think, so I'm right. Such an outstanding trait shows a proper dignity and respect for the other. The fact that you don't have to think about the green flags to determine whether or not they're a good person. Some of us have anxiety, man. I know my friends are chill, but like, what if not? Yeah man, it only takes one person who you thought you knew and loved for years, prove you wrong, and break your trust before you become a skeptic of everybody. Relatable. I'm reading this thread for me, man. Imposter syndrome is real. Right there with ya. See a thing I don't do, or don't do often. Oh no. 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 I've got red flags. Help. I've got red flags. Good people and bad people aren't real things. People do good things sometimes, and they do bad things sometimes. Some people do bad things more often than they do good things, and vice versa. There aren't even good things or bad things. It's all context. Don't fool yourself into thinking there actually are certainties you can see in someone that makes them a good or bad person. Bad things can also be done with good intentions and vice versa. For the most part, one agree, people are defined by their actions, and though we all make mistakes, people who consistently do the right thing vs people who choose not to is what differentiates a good person from a bad one. To me, it's someone who acts selflessly, and you can see it in everything they do. They drive safely and think of others. They anticipate upcoming traffic conditions and drive to stat out of the way. They're careful about how they park their car inside the lines, not blocking anyone else. They complete their job work not only for themselves, but look for ways to achieve things to help others. They're constantly looking ahead and planning ahead and anticipating ways they can improve things again, not only for themselves, but for others. I take it there are many idiots on the road where you live? when they speak positively about their friends when they aren't there. I'd never say this to her face, but she's a wonderful person and a gifted artist. Why wouldn't you say that to her face? Because I insult my friends to their face, obviously. Beth is great. She'll give you the shirt off her bay. Hey Beth, I was just telling this guy how you kick babies and take candy from puppies. I try to do this and somehow always start talking bad about people. I hate it. Looks like you aren't a good person. Time to wrap it up. I dunno, my girlfriend has done CPR on me 5 times to save me, so maybe that. To those of you who are just seeing this and are wondering why CPR had to be performed on me 5 separate times by my girlfriend, it's because I had 4 drug overdoses back in high school from my sophomore year to my senior year, and the 5th time was because I had drowned in our swimming pool last year. How come you have gone into cardiac arrest 5 times? 4 of those time were drug overdoses, and the 5th time was because I nearly drowned. Kindness to and love of animals. Kindness to and love of children. Kindness to the poor, disadvantaged, or anyone worse off than them. Putting others before themselves. Kindness to and love of children. Children set off my sensory issues and psychological issues, so I don't love them, but I'll be polite to them while trying to minimize our time together. Does that count? I enjoy helping those in need and animals, but I will be an adult and admit I cannot stand children in the slightest, but will never judge those who do. Good manners equals good person. Some people talk nice and act nice and even do good things, and then one day you realize they were playing you like a fiddle and were friends with you just so they could bed your wife. Example: my mother. Oh, your mom is so nice. Is she though? Pay attention. My father is like that. He can talk circles around anyone. At first glance, he is charming, witty, smart, and when you are not looking, he beats his kids and wife. You want to talk about it, buddy? When you offer them a bite of your food and they don't take too large of a bite, or go straight for the best part. When you're struggling, and their first reaction is to be the adult for you, be calming, take control of the situation, offer advice, etc. When they don't get upset about you, or others setting personal boundaries, going out of their way to take care of their friends, dropping off pies to their friends for the holidays, bringing food or medicine to some who is sick, pet sitting when someone is out of town, and definitely how they treat strangers, wait staff,